welcome to the next installment of Wow You Can Cook. Today, Dr. Gloria is sharing her recipe for the Korean-inspired vegetarian quinoa bibimbap with plum sauce.
You said it right.
How close did I get? Oh!
Yeah, you got really close. It's a hard one to pronounce. Yeah, it's a hard one. We used to just say BB because it was too hard to pronounce when I was in Asia. Yeah. So thank you, Lena, and again, welcome. That's great. So what we're going to do is, okay, go ahead and steam whatever you're going to steam. What I started to say, Linda, is that with my challenge chewing, I have to steam everything. I think that when you really want a totally raw, you want that chewing, the raw food, it's perfectly okay to put everything raw. It's like eating raw carrots and broccoli and sprouts or whatever. But if you want it to be, I think, a little more filling, if it's just steamed enough that it's tender, I think it gives it more of a full course meal, in my opinion. Okay. So go ahead and steam them if you want.
Even the spinach, because I wondered if the spinach was
about. Yes. Okay. You can steam it. You can steam it. Just don't make it totally wilted unless you want it that way. So Sandy, have you steamed your veggies?
Yeah, I've done mine.
And your quinoa's cooked?
Yes.
Okay. So I'm curious, did you ladies cook your quinoa in water or in chicken or vegetable broth?
I cooked mine in water.
Okay, chicken Linda? Broth.
Chicken broth.
Okay. Jill?
I have my quinoa ready and I'm steaming my veggies now.
Okay, but did you cook your quinoa in vegetable or chicken broth or water?
Just water.
Okay, so remember something. Next time, cook it in chicken broth, if you can have chicken, or in vegetable broth. It's two different worlds. The flavor is, I never cook rice or any of the grains like that, or quinoa in just water. Because if you don't want to have, the animal protein, you can always do it in the vegetable broth, okay? All right, so while you ladies are cooking, since you're kind of ahead of me here, which I wanted you to be, here's what I'd like to do. And I did this in my classes in person, but I couldn't find some of them, and I found one. I don't know how many of you know about the quotes and the daily inspirations from Source Message. Do any of you know what that is? You do, Teresa? Aren't they amazing? So what I did was today I'm going to begin a new introduction, I guess, to our show. Because I want it to be an inspiration for all of you. Basically, I strive to teach you and to guide you to refuel your body, but to refuel it with things that are healthy. In other words, you don't want to put crummy gasoline in a tank in a very good car, right? I mean, if it tells you unleaded or leaded or what octane, that's what you want to do. It's the same thing with the food. We are what we eat. So I want to read to you, and this is quote from the Source Message, what the message was this morning that really resonated with me. Listen carefully and think of it as an example of we are what we eat. Imagine that you waited until you ran out of gas completely every time before you refueled it. So your tank is empty. How frustrating would that be? What if you're going to an important appointment or someplace that's out in the wilderness and there's no gas stations, right? It may happen in the middle of the highway, which is why you always do it before you absolutely have to. So just make sense about the fact that your mind and your body are no different. Back in the day, you'd wait until you snapped in order to correct your inner health. In other words, you'd had it. You're climbing the walls, okay? Mentally, you were next to a cliff at all times. I know I was when I was commuting, 3-4 hours a day. I mean, we're all kind of at the edge of the cliff emotionally at that point, and it affects us physically. And if you're not eating right, it's even worse. So now, if you know how to eat properly to fuel your body, mind, and spirit, it makes all the difference. Because finding consistency in what necessitates your well-being is the cap to all virtues. You deserve to refuel your body, mind, and spirit well before you have to. So wellness is not quick fixes. Remember that. It's lifestyle changes. And this is even more important after our do-over. We've said it before. If you just make these changes, you start feeling really good, you go and have your do-over, and then you go back, as Tracy has always reminded us, you have to be willing to give up what made you sick. This isn't an exact quote, in order to get well. And so I hope that inspiration gives you a little bit of food for thought. And if any of you have any great inspirations that would go along with eating and nourishing our mind, body, and spirit, send them to me, and we'll do it at the beginning of each show. So is that okay? Are you all okay with that? Thumbs up if
Yeah.
you are. Okay, so it just takes, a couple minutes, but I think it gives us all something to think about. Okay, the next question I have, while everybody's doing what they're doing, because it's an easy recipe. You steam or you don't steam. You assemble your bowls, and then you put the sauce. That's where the magic happens. You don't have to use a fried egg. You can use a scrambled egg. You can leave the egg off, because the sauce is where the magic happens. But several people said, what's a umami flavor, which is the Asian flavor? Umami is basically, I gave the exact definition here. It's a meaty, earthy, I think is my definition, or a savory taste. Like, you know how Parmesan cheese is aged and it has that savory taste? So does seaweed and miso and mushrooms and kimchi. All of that is what they call umami, U-M-A-M-I. So when you see a recipe that says, oh, it has a lot of umami flavors, umami taste, that's what it means. I didn't want you to have this fancy term and then you didn't know what it was, because you'd never had a definition. So this is very important in Asian cooking, because they like the balance. The Asian culture understands that everything in life has to be in balance. So when they say umami, it's like, okay, you can't have just sweet. You have to have sweet and savory and sour and whatever. So that's where umami came from. I hope that helps. Okay, so we are steaming, or we're eating. I think everybody's steaming, right? You're not eating raw vegetables. Okay, you're all steaming. Jill, where are you in the process?
I'm just steaming, but it's a high altitude, so we'll see.
I know, dear heart. How much longer are you in high altitude?
Usually about 5 minutes. So
No, I mean before you move.
oh, where I moved to, it's the end of the month.
The end of the month. I knew it was August. I just didn't know when. Okay, so have any of you collected all your ingredients for your sauce? Because the sauce is really easy, but I prefer that you try making it in a blender or in like a little what am I trying to say? I'm going blank here. In a Vitamix or something, not a Vitamix, the little magic bullet type things, the small processors that you can make liquid and smoothies and all that, because you're not making a huge quantity. When you get to making this particular plum sauce, you're going to want it on a lot of things, especially on vegetables. If you're eating big salads, it makes a great dressing instead of having to make another salad dressing. I have to admit that over the weekend I cheated, and I put some of my famous Texas pecan oil in it and put it over a salad, and it was amazing. That's if you want to pay $20 for a little bottle of oil, but I'm real stingy with it, and it was really good. So you can have leftover dressing and use it on other things. So if you have your ingredients together, go ahead and mute if you have to blend it. If you're going to just do it by hand, you're fine. But if you're going to go ahead and blend it, mute yourself for a minute while Lena and I show you something else. Okay? And then put your thumbs up when your sauce is ready, so that you're ready to assemble your bowl and put that on there. Got it? Okay, Jill, you're muted. That's fine. Sandy's fine. She's not there. Linda, do you need to mute or not?
I actually made my sauce last night and put it in a little container and put it in.
That's great. That's great. And then just shake it real good, because it will separate. Yeah. And if you want a little bit more of an oil and vinegar taste to the plum sauce, then just add your favorite oil. Like I said, usually I'll use walnut oil or avocado oil, or olive oil. But this time I had a bottle of the pecan oil, so that's what I used. Yes.
Okay, I had a question on, like, at the very beginning of the recipe, it said a half a teaspoon of rice vinegar and 1 1/4 teaspoon of sesame oil. Is that, I did not put that in my sauce. Is that separate?
You can do it separate, or you can make it together with the vegetables if you were steaming them in a liquid, like a broth.
Okay, okay.
Okay, so you have the option, because I didn't know if everybody was going to steam or some people were just going to shred everything like in a Buddha bowl, what they call a Buddha bowl, if you were just going to make it like the picture shows. Yes.
So should I add a little bit of the rice vinegar and sesame oil to the steamed vegetables?
I would if you'd like that flavor. Yeah. Sandy, did you add anything to the vegetables?
Not yet. Not yet.
Not yet. Okay. Maybe try it before. Try a little bit before, and you put it all in, all of it, because it does change the flavor. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Yeah. Nancy, go ahead.
I was just wondering, Dr. Gloria, about the sesame oil. I think when we went over it one time and sesame wasn't good, I got rid of my sesame oil. So it's okay to
Nancy,
use.
remember, we've talked about moderation and everything. There are certain dishes that if you don't have the sesame oil and you're cooking Asian food, it's not going to taste the same. So, if you use sesame oil once every 3 or 4 months, it's not a problem. It's when people get in the habit thinking that it's healthy, like safflower oil or canola oil, and they're making a lot of dishes with it. That's why I don't get rid of mine, but I buy small bottles so it doesn't go rancid. And then I date it. I date everything that I buy with a permanent marker. And if it's gone more than about 6 months, even though I've kept it cool, dark, and dry, I toss it. That's why I buy small bottles. Okay, so just remember, it's all in moderation. Now, to your question, though, that's a good question, Nancy. If you have canola oil or safflower oil, shame on you. Trash it immediately. That's different than having a little bit of walnut oil or pecan oil. Or pecan oil is as healthy, according to the studies, as olive oil. It's a very high temperature oil, and it's very healthy. It's got some different constituents than some of the other oils that are made out of nuts. Okay? Does that help?
That helps.
Okay.
Thanks.
Okay. Jorgen, go ahead, hon.
Why already after 6 months? Is the oil destroyed after 6 months if you have?
A lot of it does. It depends. That's why I never buy big bottles, because you can smell the difference. If you open a bottle of oil when you buy it, if it's fresh, and then smell it 3 months later, and then smell it 6 months later, even if you kept it cool, dark, and dry, okay, not sitting out on the counter like some people do in their fancy bottles. I used to do that. I admit it. I keep it in the cupboard where it's dark.
But if it smells, but after 6 months, if it smells okay, do you still?
It's usually okay. I don't, because I get terrible stomach aches if that oil gets too old. So, and I know my body well enough. So I buy small bottles of everything, and then I just toss it if it starts smelling a little different. I have a very acute sense of smell, so I can tell you when it's rancid, just like I can tell you when there's mold in the building the minute I walk in the front door. So just pay attention to your body. If it smells okay, don't throw it away, but make sure it's kept dark, and, and not in plastic. It should always be in glass, dark and cool. Not like right next to the stove. Put it in a cupboard further away, or put it in a pantry or something, or laundry room even, as long as you're no, a laundry room isn't good either, because you've got the heat from the water and the dryer. Yeah. Okay?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. Now, we're going to have a little fun here. Do you remember me talking about the spoons that I absolutely love? I used to give them to everybody that took my cooking classes, and they were, where's my picture? They were little spoons. Let's see if you can see them. It was a set of spoons. See them? They're tiny. And I got them on Amazon, so hold on, because Lena did the same thing and got you a link. This has 1 drop. It's a legal measurement, a smidgen, a tad, a dash, and a pinch. So when you say you want a pinch or something, or I say put a pinch, see, she's got hers. We couldn't find the ones that I have with the colored top. I really like the colored tops because then I know, by memory, they're all engraved, so it's okay, but it's easier for me to see them with a color. I couldn't find them on Amazon anymore. I used to have the ones that she has. You're muted, I think. You're muted, Lena.
Gotcha. I put a link in the chat just now to the ones that I purchased on Amazon.
Yeah, because you can't get mine.
And
How
that's
much were
easy.
they? The ones you
It
purchased?
was $4.98, so under $5.
Yeah. Yeah, and mine were $5.98 when I bought them last year on Amazon, but I didn't find them anymore when she and I were looking over the weekend. But they're identical. They just don't have the little colored tabs. That's the difference.
Right.
So I used to give them to everybody that attended my cooking classes, and it was really fun because somebody said to me, well, why would you use a drop? And I said, a lot of people that I work with that have their pets and are patients will say, well, what kind of homeopathic do I give my dog that weighs 5 pounds? A drop. This is a drop. So that's why they do come in handy, believe it or not. They are legal measurements, okay? Just so you know. So we thought it'd be kind of fun.
I just wanted to
she put the link
comment.
for you. Yeah.
I wanted to comment that until I got this set, I had no idea that I was underestimating what a pinch was. This is a pinch, and my pinch was way less than this. So now I know why the seasoning never really turned out correctly.
Yeah, and that's true. It's true because we think, I think of a pinch about my mother cooking, right? Or my grandmother cooking. And I'd say, Mom, how did you do that? Well, just put a pinch of this and a dash of that. And I just thought these were so clever. I used to buy them when I had my clinic. Sandy's shaking her head. Yes, I used to buy these by the gross, 144 at a time. And when people finished my cooking classes, I'd give it to them. And I mean, they were just such a hit that people started giving them as gifts, housewarming gifts, and put it with the bow on the box. I mean, there's so many useful things. And once you start using them, you'll realize that you are getting exactly the same amount of ingredient every time you make that recipe. Because sometimes if you are like I am, I'm in the hurry and I think, oh, like Lena was just saying, oh, that's about the right amount, and it doesn't taste the same. And it's because I didn't measure it the same as I did the time before. So I hope that gives you a little smile and a reason to buy some spoons for yourself, because they're really clever.
Look at Nancy. She's got some.
Where? Oh, she's already got them. Does yours have a drop, hon? Yeah, I think it does. The littlest one should be a drop. It does. Okay, perfect. You're way ahead.
They're Amazon
The little one
too.
should say a drop.
They have a ring on them.
Is it?
Wait a minute.
Yeah. Yeah, mine has a ring, see?
Yeah.
And hers has a chain. Yeah.
No colors.
Perfect. But it's got the ring. That's great. Thank you for sharing that. Okay. How are you ladies doing? Have you blended your sauce yet?
Yep.
Okay, so don't put your sauce on your plate after you plate it in your bowl until I tell you to, unless you've already done it.
No.
No? Okay, tell me when you're ready. Now, if you're good, okay. Sandy, are you ready, hon?
I'm ready.
Okay, here's what you can do. If you're going to use the sauce because you like the flavor, and you're going to use the sauce for other vegetables or even on rice or on quinoa, I love it over basmati or over jasmine rice. If you're going to do that, you may want to thicken it with a little bit of a slurry. Okay, like cornstarch or arrowroot, something to put in water and make a slurry and then thicken it. You don't need to thicken it for this. So I'd like you to take a taste of your vegetables when you get them plated without the sauce.
Do we put the quinoa first or does it matter?
Doesn't matter, but I always did. I always made my quinoa or my rice, as the base for it, yes. And then the vegetables around it, like I showed in the picture, where you just make a nice decorative, colorful plate. That's why it doesn't seem to work as well when it's on a plate. I even bought some pretty big blue, cobalt blue and white Asian bowls actually they're pasta bowls, but I use them for these vitality bowls like these from Amazon, and they're beautiful. They're ceramic, and they're blue and white, cobalt blue and white. They're really pretty, and they work well because they're extended, and they're supposed to be for pasta, but they work really well for this kind of a dish. I started out making them like they do in Asia with a smaller bowl, you know, with the higher sides. I didn't like it. I couldn't get to the quinoa, and the dressing didn't get all over. So I changed bowls, and I like it better. Okay, see if you.
Could we start our egg?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead. Go ahead. Do your egg. Fry it or scramble it. I prefer it fried. And I don't know how many of you have gone to a restaurant where they have on the menu a hamburger patty with a fried egg on top. I love it that way. Have any of you
Yeah.
have?
Yeah.
Maybe you have? Okay.
Yeah.
So this is the version. Did you want to say something, Lena?
No, I was just saying, did I raise my hand? Sorry.
Yeah, you did.
No,
That's okay.
I was just saying, yeah,
So-
I've seen it on a menu.
Okay, the first time I saw it on a menu, I thought, what? A fried egg and a hamburger patty? And it
Oh,
was
yeah.
like, you got to be kidding me. And it was one of the, what do they call those Japanese, the Japanese meat that is so expensive that is, you know, massaged, and the animals are, I can't think of the
Kobe.
name of it.
Kobe, I think.
Kobe, thank you, Nancy. So I went to a Kobe steakhouse, and they had the hamburger patties with the egg. And I was like, what? I never wanted another one without a fried egg. And when I came to Texas, I remember going to the Monument Restaurant, which is famous all over the South. And I asked them if they'd put a fried egg on it. And the chef came out to talk to me, and he said, wow, you must have eaten a Kobe burger before. Because he knew what it was, but nobody seemed to be doing it in the restaurant or the people that he knew locally. So this is similar. This is not the American version. This is the Korean version of what they do, not just for breakfast. This is lunch or dinner. It gives them their egg with the protein. It's delicious. And the juice of the fried egg is what gives the dish that other flavor. And then you put the sauce on top. So it is not just a breakfast dish because it has a fried egg, okay? Judy, you shook your head. Have you had the fried egg on a hamburger patty?
Yes, over in Hawaii.
Yes. And isn't it good?
Oh, yummy.
Yummy. And see, I didn't have it in Hawaii. I didn't even know that they did that. But it figures it got a lot of Asian, you know, it's all the Asian influence there. So yeah, it's
Yes.
delicious. It makes the hamburger steak completely different. It wasn't a hamburger with a bun. It was a hamburger steak. And it was just amazing. And then all the raw vegetables around it. Oh my goodness, was it good. Okay, Sandy, how are you? Where are you at the process?
I'm just waiting for you
You
to
got-
go
you ha-
ahead.
Do you have the dressing done?
Yeah,
Have you tasted it?
yes, it's very good.
Did you use the actual plum syrup, or did you use
No,
the?
I couldn't find it.
Okay, it's like a syrup. It's made from green plums. It's not a regular plum like a pancake plum syrup. It's made from green plums. And they do have it on Amazon, but you got to search for it. So
Oh, okay.
the dressing was good. So you used the brown sugar and the lemon juice and the apple cider vinegar.
Yes.
Okay, and you didn't change any of that.
No.
Okay, and it was good.
Yeah, it's very good.
Is it? Okay, see, you can try that if you can't find the plum. Jill, did you find the plum syrup?
I did not, so I made it all up. And I want to make sure I'm still following today, because I know one thing we did not do today was give the actual measurement of the ingredients on anything. We've just kind of started out and started.
Right, we
making
started
everything
because it was a
happen.
lot of pre-cooked. Okay, so do
Yeah,
you want me to give
So
the
I just
actual
want to make
ingredients?
sure. No, I mean, I think I'm okay and we'll be better. We're just learning it together again. It's new, everything. But I want to make sure.
New.
So I take all my steamed vegetables and now add my sauce to it because I tried them plain and they're just a veggie. So now I put all the
Okay,
sauce over my vegetables, correct?
Yeah, so are you gonna put an egg on it?
I will be, but do I wait until I put the egg on it, or do I add that plum sauce that I made onto my
You
vegetables?
can do it either way you want. If you don't want the
Okay.
sauce on the egg, then put the egg after. So for
Okay.
the sake of the recording, let me go slowly over the ingredients. A half of an English cucumber, thinly sliced. Now remember, these are the veggies I used. You can use any veggie your little heart desires. A half a teaspoon of rice vinegar, 1 1/4 teaspoon of sesame oil, but divide it up. 1 cup fresh mung bean sprouts, not the mung beans themselves. I used a cup of shredded carrots, 4 cups of baby spinach. This was enough for about 3 or 4 people. A half a teaspoon of tamari, about 2 cups of cooked quinoa, 1 1/2 cups water or chicken broth or vegetable broth. I use 2 fried eggs, but you don't have to. You can use just 1 if you're making 1 plate. Or for those of you that don't eat eggs, you can do baked tofu. 4 ounces of sauteed mushrooms. You don't have to use them. Those are optional. 1 to 2 zucchinis cut in real small strips or use like a zoodle maker so that they're thin. I used a 1/3 cup of sugar snap peas and a 1/2 cup of green onions. That was my bowl, okay? Now, we already went through the fact that you have to soak the quinoa. Remember that when quinoa isn't soaked and rinsed properly, and that's why I put my hands in it and I kind of mash the grains in between my fingers, and then I rinse it, and then I do it again. It's got that bitter flavor, and that bitter flavor is the sapopins, which is nature's pesticide. It's automatically in the plant. It's not something they add to it. And I found that out in Ecuador because I got there and my quinoa here was fine. I get there and it's like, oh my God, this is awful. And I asked one of the indigenous people that literally grows quinoa, and she said, well, did you rinse it several times? And she taught me how to do it with my hands. It's because the one in the US is somewhat rinsed, okay? Unless it literally says pre-rinsed, not completely. And in Ecuador, they just, they harvest it, it's organic, and you buy it at the market. So that's why I didn't like it there. So this is why it's important, unless you're buying quinoa that's already pre-rinsed, or you have any of you bought the little packets of the brown rice and quinoa that's already cooked that you just throw into a stir fry? Or you, let me get the name because I had it and I was afraid I'd forget it.
Seeds of something.
Seeds of change. Seeds of change. They come in little vacuum sealed packets. For all of you that are alone, you're only cooking for 1 person or for 2 people, you don't want to soak the quinoa, you're okay with brown rice, then buy the seeds of change little packages because there is no bitterness. It's already steamed, no other ingredients that are bad. It's already steamed and then vacuum sealed. So all you do is throw it in a skillet with a little bit of, I use avocado oil, sometimes even cheat and put a little butter, and just warm it up, or you throw it into a stir fry just to get it warm because it doesn't need to cook. Okay, Linda, did you have something? Oh, that's beautiful.
Wow.
Can all of you see it?
It's beautiful.
Okay, so is the sauce on it?
Yeah, I put some. I may need to put more when I taste it.
I like the bowl.
Okay, go ahead and taste it and see what you think, because I don't think any of you used the plum syrup, did you? The green plum syrup? Okay, so this is a good test of how you can substitute that with the ingredients that I gave you on here, which we will talk about it now. The substitute for the sauce, if you can't get or you don't choose to get the plum syrup, you can use a 1/2 tablespoon of brown sugar, 1 tablespoon of water, and a 1/2 teaspoon of lemon juice or apple cider vinegar. And that gives you that umami flavor that I was talking about. If you want it a little sweeter, you can use some monk fruit or some stevia or add a little bit more brown sugar, because it's not a lot of sugar if you're putting it in a whole bowl. The ingredients for the sauce, if you make it the way the recipe is 1 tablespoon of garlic, fresh garlic. That's why I like it done in a little blender. a tablespoon of honey, or you can use your natural sugar substitute, a tablespoon of plum sauce or plum syrup. You see, you don't use a lot. It's not a lot of sugar. And if you buy a little bottle of plum syrup and you keep it refrigerated, it'll last a year in the refrigerator. I mean, it's not like you're spending money for one recipe, because we'll use it for other things, and it's great, thickened and put over rice, quinoa, or other vegetables if you thicken it with a little slurry. And then a teaspoon of sesame oil and 1 teaspoon of rice wine vinegar. So that is if you're making the sauce from scratch, or you can do the alternative. Let me say the alternative one more time. I see people writing. If you don't have the plum syrup, you can do a half a tablespoon of brown sugar, 1 tablespoon of water, a half a teaspoon of lemon juice or apple cider vinegar. And that is a wonderful dressing on its own. And if you want it a little sweeter, then just add a little more sweetener. Okay. Dawn, did you have a question?
I don't have the recipe in front of me, so is that included with it?
Yeah, it's all in there.
Okay. Okay, thanks.
Yeah, I put, and that's purposely why I did it. I put in there that it's a tablespoon of plum syrup available in Asian stores or Amazon, or you can substitute with those ingredients. Yeah, it's all in here. Wow, look at
That
Jill.
looks good.
Gosh, she does. You all do such a beautiful job of plating.
Everyone does.
Everybody does. Make sure you take a picture before you dive in, dear heart.
I did. I took a picture. One thing.
Okay,
that
now did you
I
put?
put the chicken on it for fun. I went
Good.
ahead and cooked up
Good.
chicken. And I think that's really about the
So
change.
see-
And I found great plums at my little farmer's market this weekend. So I was like, yay, I'm gonna have these little yellow plums, and they're delicious. I'd never had
Okay,
it.
so you're gonna have the plums separate.
Yes, just to have with my lunch.
Okay. Okay, but here's another hint. If you don't have those little tiny green plums in the sauce, if you don't have the plum syrup, you could have put a couple of those plums in your blender with your ingredients, and you would have had plum syrup.
Great. See, there we
See?
go. We all learn. I love this. I love this. And I'm
We
also
do. You don't have to buy the, yeah.
sticky
I mean, I don't
pomegranate
have
chicken
plums here.
with
Yes.
this today. For some guests at lunch, I'm having our sticky pomegranate chicken with this, like
Yeah.
as sort of a salad. So
Oh, that would be good. Well, try it with some of the plums. If you've got the nice little green plums, you can buy those in most places. I don't have them right now in Texas, but they told me they'd be here soon. I guess it's not the season for them here, or whoever they get them from. Make your own sauce. That's really all they do. All the ingredients I told you, but they put the green plums in it. So you don't have to buy it. The bad thing is when the plums aren't in season and you don't have the plum syrup in your refrigerator, you can't make the recipe to taste exactly the same. Okay, Linda?
I'm
Verdict.
eating lunch. I'm gonna eat the whole
You're
thing.
eating lunch.
I
Yeah,
love
how is it?
It's great. I love vegetables, and quinoa, so this is just so up my alley, and the egg adds the extra protein, so this will be my lunch.
Okay, and what about the sauce? Did you like it? Do you want to actually put more because it's good?
I did. I put more on. Yeah.
And so it's really good, even though you didn't use the actual plum syrup.
But I'd like to
Yeah,
try
see
it
the
with that.
difference? Yeah, get the plums. Sandy, how are you doing?
Oh, I've already tasted it. It's very good. It's my kind of dish.
That's your kind of dish. Okay, so remember something. This is a dish, breakfast, lunch, or dinner, and it isn't limited to what you put in it. It's whatever vegetables are in season. Whatever you find, cauliflower. I also love it with, and the cauliflower, I chop it all up so that it's small pieces. I also love it with kohlrabi. I love it with any of the Asian vegetables that you can get. It doesn't matter what it is. I love it with chard, with red chard, and I cut it in long little strips so that it's like lettuce, and then chop it up small so that it can actually be easier to chew. But
Well,
it's not something that is, the what?
I did add some chard.
Okay, good. What else did you add that maybe wasn't in the recipe?
I did the mushrooms.
Good.
zucchini, and I didn't do I did the peas in the shell because I like the shells
Yeah.
of them. So I did that.
Okay. Did you steam them all
And
first, or did you put them in raw?
no, I steamed them because I can't chew
Oh.
real well.
Yeah, see, I can't either. So it's that's why it's, but it does make a difference. Someday make it with all raw vegetables, carrots and zucchini and, you know, celery or whatever else you have, broccoli, etc. And then
Okay.
steam them, and you'll see the difference. They're two completely different dishes. I like it steamed. Okay, Jill, come on. We want to see the good taste test here. You're muted, honey. You're muted.
I added a plum to my sauce because I still had some in the pan, so I added the plum quickly. What a difference in the taste by just adding that little plum. So
okay, so did you mash it or did you put it back in the blender?
I put it back in the blender and just got right after it. It's delicious.
See? So just adding a couple plums to it changes the whole flavor.
Yeah.
So I hope that gives you the incentive to change it. The other thing that is really good is we did it with buckwheat pancakes. And instead of doing, I make my own homemade maple syrup. And if you all are interested, I can give you the directions right now because it's so simple. But I make my own so that it doesn't have sugar. And I make enough for like 2 meals, you know, like for Brian and I, and then we'll have it the next day as well. We make enough of any kind of a gluten-free pancake mix. And do you all want the recipe?
Yeah.
For the homemade maple syrup? Okay. So write it down. I don't have the exact measurements. You won't need the exact measurements. Trust me. You buy pure organic maple extract. And it's from olivenation.com. You can buy a little bottle, and I buy on this one, I buy a quart. I'm not kidding you because I use maple in a lot of things. And it's no sugar. It's pure organic maple extract. Okay, keep it. You don't have to refrigerate it. So I buy the big bottle, and then I have a little bottle I keep in my spice cabinet because the big one's too big to haul around. Yes?
Don's got a question.
Go ahead, Don.
It's okay.
Go ahead.
My screen froze up. So I just heard buy pure organic maple syrup from Olive something, and I didn't hear anything else after that.
Olivenation.com.
Okay, thank you.
Olivenation.com. And once you get on their mailing list, you're going to get all their specials. Like 2 times a year before the holidays, they'll have 25% off all their extracts or whatever, and take advantage of it. That's when I stock up. Okay, so, and don't hesitate. Ask questions like Don did, because that's just why we all learn. So then you're going to add I use powdered stevia from Trader Joe's. It doesn't have to be, but that's where you should measure 1 cup of water, powdered stevia, and figure out, I use hold on and I'll tell you. I use a tad because I like it real sweet, because if you put it on the pancakes or waffles, it's not going to be as sweet. So I use a tad. Okay?
A tad of what?
And then you put in
the powdered stevia?
A tad of the sweetener, the powdered stevia.
Okay.
Yeah. Now, if you're using monk fruit, it's about the same, but go slow. Start slow. Keep tasting your water as it's boiling. Taste it until you get the sweetness you like. Once you get the sweetness you like, add about a tad of vanilla extract. Most everybody has that in their home. And I like it real mapley. So I put 2 tablespoons of the maple extract. Now, maple syrup should be a dark brown. So you don't even have to measure. Keep doing it until it gets a dark brown. Taste it and adjust your sweetness or adjust your maple syrup. That's how easy it is. And it stays about a week to 2 weeks in the refrigerator. After you use it, let it cool, put it in the refrigerator. We save little glass bottles that I have that I've used for years, And that's what I use for my maple syrup so that I know what it is at all times. Okay, so I'll get you in a minute, Jorgen. So I saw everybody writing. Did you get that down? Are there any questions? Nancy, Dawn, any questions? No, it's that easy. And it tastes just like the maple syrup in a restaurant. Now, when I used to make it for my kids, which was way back, I mean, they're in their 50s. That's how long I've purchased that from Olive Nation. When I used to make it for them, they didn't like it. They said it was too watery. So I used to make a slurry with a little bit more water, with cornstarch or with arrowroot, and thicken it. And just be careful, go slow if you want it thick. I don't care if it's thick or thin because I like tons of it on my pancakes. And since doesn't have sugar, I can have it. I don't care. It absorbs anyway. But if you want it thicker, after you try it the first time, then use a slurry of either cornstarch or arrowroot and thicken it. But go slow with the cornstarch and arrowroot. Wait till it thickens. See if it's thick enough after it bubbles, and then add more if you need it. Because otherwise, it just literally clumps, and you don't want it to be, so thick that you can't use it. Jorgen, go ahead, hon.
Yeah, do you make it yourself because it's better, or why don't you just buy it?
No, I make it myself because when you buy it, it's got all kinds of other ingredients.
Okay.
It's got stabilizers. We don't have an organic pure maple syrup here. We have,
Okay,
so I make it from scratch. I have for years.
Okay, I think I could do that in Denmark anyway.
Yeah, you can buy any kind of an extract that is a pure extract of maple, and then you just use vanilla, and everything else you should be able to get there.
But the one I buy in Denmark is 100% maple syrup, ecologic.
Yeah, but it has sugar.
Yeah, it has sugar. Yeah, for people who
No.
are
See, I'm
diabetic
diabetic.
or, yeah.
No, it's
I
100%.
can't do the sugar.
Yeah, but it's 100% pure.
Yes, but maple itself is sugar.
Yeah.
It's like honey. It's sugar. See, so you're still feeding all the stuff that sugar feeds. So you're right. You can get 100% maple syrup.
Yeah.
Okay, you're correct, but it's got sugar. The idea to make it with the pure maple extract is it has no sugar, and you know every ingredient that went in it. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Okay. Now I understand. Thank you.
Now you understand. No, you're correct. The pure maple syrup is okay. It's just that we have to avoid the sugar. Okay.
Yeah, I understand.
That's why.
Thank you.
Okay. Questions, comments, Nancy? You're going?
I'm looking at a bottle of organic maple syrup from Canada, dark, and wow, it's got 48 grams of sugar.
Oh.
So,
Yep.
yeah.
Yes. So that would sabotage you for a month. That's what you should have in a month.
Trader Joe's has 53 grams. Oh no, Kirkland Organic. Costco has 53 grams.
She's giving me away now.
Nancy, Nancy, good thing that you said that. Don't toss it because it's that high in sugar. Okay? Dilute it and use it for something else that you need that flavor for. In other words, if you were to use a smidgen or a pinch of that and give something else flavor, you can use it up. Just don't buy it again because you know it's high in sugar. Does that make sense?
Yeah, what would you use it for? I've had this. My husband used to do pancakes a long time ago. I probably really should get rid of it. But
oh my God! Like if you get yams, the sweet potatoes, make the maple syrup like I just told you to make, and then just put a dash of that and put some cinnamon. Now you've got baked sweet potatoes like they do in the South, what we call yams on the West Coast. And you bake them in the oven and put that on, and it's delicious, but you only have a little bit of sugar from the one that you have. The rest of it, you can use the concoction that I just told you about. Okay? So don't waste it. It doesn't go bad. It's like honey. It doesn't go bad. Okay? Questions? Jill, did you have a comment or a question?
No, I just was thinking how great this tasted once I added that plum to it to make that plum sauce. And just
okay, so show us the size of what What was the
Being
size of
able
the
to
plum?
taste
That
it.
little one, like a
Oh, there's that little teeny one, just a small one.
like
Size
a
of
cherry,
hand.
like a cherry tomato.
Yes, yes.
Yeah,
That's
like
all
a
it
cherry
was.
tomato, and you put just one in with what was left in your skillet, right?
I did. And it was just delicious. And you know what's really fun about this? I don't like the snap sweet peas, but I use them. And I have to tell everyone, because we're always telling on ourselves, so I'm going to do another tell on me. I was with my guy for 23 years and I could not cook. I'm telling you that. I could
Wow.
not cook. When we divorced, my kids go, "Hey, Mom, you're a pretty good cook." And now I go, "Oh, they should try my food now."
Well, just like you didn't like a tartar sauce, right? And now you do.
Right, now I do. Your
Right.
tartar sauce.
Yeah.
Mm.
And I don't like giving you a recipe that you only use for one dish. That's why I've said to you, like with the homemade Worcestershire sauce, we're going to do it with other recipes. Keep it refrigerated. And that one isn't hard to make. You can dump it and make some more. But some of these things, if you just keep them refrigerated, date them though. Always date them. I mean, you don't want it to get stuck in the back of the refrigerator and you look at it all of a sudden when you're cleaning it out, it's 3 years old. Okay, so date everything. It's one big mistake that most of us make. I used to make that mistake. Gets lost in the back, and then it's like, oh, I forgot I had that. So, okay, Sandy, how's the flavor? Sandy's the one that gives me a rating. What's my rating, Sandy?
Oh, I'm gonna go with a 9 or 10.
Okay, fair enough. Was it sweet enough for you? Did it have enough of a sweet tart flavor?
Yeah, it was great.
Okay, so now, Lena, I'm going to ask you something. Can you get the little tiny plums in Oklahoma where you are? Because I can't get them here right now.
No, not the tiny ones. I can get
Yeah,
the
see, they're
regular one, but
green.
not
They're
the tiny
little
ones.
tiny ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jill, do you
Now-
still have a green one you can show them?
I do.
I do have a wholesale food area on the other side of town. It's about an hour away. Next time I'm over on that side of town, I'll take a look and see if they have any. But in
Okay, because if
any
you're
of
going to make your
the
sauce, try
areas
it.
here.
Okay, now the other thing is, if you make your sauce, let's say you find the plums and you think, oh, I really like, okay, see how tiny they are? They look like cherry tomatoes. They're real small.
Yep.
That's what they call the green plums that the Asians use. Okay, thanks, Jill. If you make the sauce and you really like it, put it in ice cube trays and freeze it. Then, make sure that you put a little bit of oil or something in there. It's not going to hurt it. A little bit of avocado oil or a spray of coconut oil, which is what I do. After they freeze, pop them out. Make sure that you double wrap them in Ziploc bags. Get all the air out so they don't freeze or burn. And if you use it within 3 months, 4 months, they'll be fine. You just pop out as
Oh.
many ice cubes as you need for whatever dish you're making. Okay, so you don't waste it. If you've got the plums, buy them, make the sauce, and then just preserve it by freezing it in ice cube trays. Okay, so all of you can see why I always had 2 upright freezers and 2 upright all refrigerators, and I was alone, right? My girlfriends used to laugh and say, oh, if we run out of something, we'll just call Gloria because she's probably got it in her freezer.
Dr.
Nancy,
Gloria,
go ahead, hon.
Did you say you spray the trays with coconut spray?
Yeah, it's pure organic coconut oil, but in a spray. Like you buy Pam, in a spray I used a coconut oil. And you can buy olive oil that way too, but I prefer coconut.
I have the olive oil and avocado, but I didn't know you could buy coconut oil in a spray.
Yes, you can. And it's really nice. You just put it over your sink so you don't get it all over your kitchen. And gently spray it. It doesn't take a lot for them to pop out. Okay? Yeah, I love the coconut oil spray. Yes. Linda, comments, questions?
I love vegetables, so this is right up my alley.
So, and this is right up your alley with your diet that you're on, right? Your special diet? Good, good. Sandy gave me a good rating, a 9 to a 10. I feel that's an honor. Jill, how you doing? You really like it?
I like it. I really like it. It's good.
Lena, I screwed up and I didn't look to see what our recipe is for next week. Do you happen to have it? I know Tracy usually puts it on there and I forgot and I didn't look it up.
Just a second here. I can, I do have it. Give me just a second here because it's the
good.
onion one, but I can't remember the exact name of the title. So give me just a second
it's the pickled red onions.
Yes.
Pickled red onions and something else. Okay.
And it's made two different ways.
Yeah, so it's going to be a fairly easy one, but it's one that you have to be very specific about to get it well done so that they're tender and to get them where they're safe. Because a lot of people do fermenting and they do pickles, but then they start getting mold in it because they don't do the right ingredients. So we're going to show you how to do it two ways. So it's pickled red onions. And again, I had never had pickled red onions. It's not something that was in my culture or my growing up. Until I started traveling and realized how delicious they were. And I could put pickled red onions in anything. You can buy a starter, which is complicated and you don't always have it. You got to use it within a certain length of time. This you don't have to. Just get a canning jar that you sterilize, put it in hot water or, so that it's sterilized. Whatever, I use a quart usually. And then get your red onions. You'll see the recipe. But if you don't have the canning jar, go ahead and get one and sterilize it ahead of time. Cover it so it doesn't get de-sterilized, and then we'll use it in the recipe. But it's Lena, there was something else though. It was pickled red onions and what? Was it garlic? What was the other one?
Well, the one for next week is just the marinated red onions, but it's made two different ways.
Okay, so that's what I was thinking of. You have to remember, I write these recipes sometimes 4 or 5 months in advance, and they're on a spreadsheet for Tracy and I. And so I don't remember what they are unless I'm looking at it. So you can use the same recipe for pickled garlic. And if you've never had it, it's delicious.
Yeah, I think one was
ahead,
pickled
Lena.
and the other one was, I think one was to pickle it and the other one was just a quick toss and serve option.
Right. If you don't have the time and you want pickled onions, they won't be as tender. They'll be crunchier, but they're really good. And you can do them like you're going to have company tonight. You can do them in the morning and they'll be ready. Yes, go ahead, Jill.
Yes, Jill.
Okay, so is there quite a bit of prep work for next week? Just curious. Do we need to be doing anything ahead of time?
Nope. Just slice. Lena, help me with that because I don't have it up. You just slice your onions paper thin. Your red onions, like if you have a mandolin, or slice them really, really thin. Have your jar sterilized and then just close it so it's done ahead of time. Okay, and is there anything else on there on that recipe that they would have to do ahead of time? I don't think so. You're going to boil water.
Right. The on the one that is pickling in the jar, that she's correct. You're just going to have to do that ahead of time. The one on the toss and serve, it is, again, you want to thinly slice your onions and you're just going to dunk it in the bath of your seasoning.
In your brine.
Well, and it's going to be for 30 minutes to an hour. So yeah, there is going to be some prep work on the toss and serve side as well.
Yes. Yeah. And I think that doesn't the recipe come out tomorrow? Yes. Comes out on Tuesday.
The recipe.
So you should have the recipe.
Actually, the recipe, I believe, is going to be tonight. It's already there.
Oh, it's already there? Okay, I thought it was supposed to go out Tuesdays.
Okay,
so yes, you will need some prep work.
Okay.
Yeah.
The sumac.
Okay.
Dr. G, I mentioned that I have the sumac here at the house. So I'm guessing I've never used it. So I am going to, I have, but just for like to put on wounds or something. So I'm guessing I'm just going to ground up that sumac with a blender type, my coffee grinder, to be able to use it. I don't think. Okay, great. This could be fun.
Just use that. And you know what else? Try a sprinkle on a section of your bowl for today. It's delicious. Just sprinkle a little bit on top. Linda, do you have any of the sumac seasoning? No? How about you, Sandy?
No.
No? Okay. So if you have some, yes, just sprinkle it on a section of your salad. It's delicious on salads. It's wonderful on like broiled chicken or chicken that you do on the stove top. Just sprinkle a little bit. It'll give it another whole different flavor. And if you like it, you can even put the sumac in your little blender after you put it in your coffee grinder. See, I don't have to grind mine. My sumac is already blended like a powder. Okay? So if you want to, try a little bit, make a little bit more dressing, put your sumac in it and your plum, and you'll see another completely different world.
I'll do that when we're
Okay?
done. And
That's
I'll
another
report.
way that you could.
I'll report
Yes,
next.
and report to us.
Okay. And Dawn's
Okay.
got her hand up.
Dawn, go ahead. Yeah.
You know, the only sumac that I've heard of is poison sumac. And so I've never heard of that
No,
before.
this is you never heard it. Sumac we used, I forget in what recipe now, but like I said, forgive me, I write these, I try them and write them I did 3 new recipes yesterday. I cook on Sundays almost all day. And I don't remember which one we used it for, but sumac you can get on Amazon, and I forget the Spice Way. Spice Way is the company I like. It's organic. They grow all their own spices. They're in little, like a foil, airtight container, you know, like an envelope. And you don't have to buy the big sizes. They have little ones for something you're not sure you're going to use a lot of. Spice Way on Amazon. They're the only ones I really trust because I know that they're all organic and they grow them. And they have farms all over the world. It's not just here. So I trust them because they test everything for heavy metals and all that stuff and pesticides and whatever. So Spice Way is a good brand to get. Okay.
Thank you.
Get some and try it. It's wonderful on any salad. You know what else, Jill? And all of you, it's great on scrambled eggs. We always put some sumac in the top. I always make my scrambled eggs with Parmesan cheese or goat cheese. I just bought some hard goat cheese. It is almost like a Parmesan, you know, and I make my scrambled eggs with that with chives and rosemary and thyme. And then I put a little sumac in there and it's delicious. Changes the whole flavor. So try it that way.
Will do.
So did you all learn a lot today? Are we okay with a little inspiration at the beginning of each show?
Sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
Everybody okay? And then if you come up with an inspirational quote that has to do with mind, body, spirit, and how we feed our body, send it to me. Thank you, everybody. This has been amazing. Lena, it's been so much fun, and I'm glad that you found the little spoons and have had fun with them. So
I have.
encourages you to start cooking more.
Right?
You did?
Yeah. Thank you, Lena, for being here with us.
Thank you, Lena.
Thank you for having me. I'm so
Bye.
excited.
Oh, it's a pleasure. Thank you. Hugs to all of you. See you next week. Bye-bye.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.